Alright, we're continuing the third video on Derech, chochmah, the path of wisdom, from the Ramchal. So, it goes like that, page 102, the four types of study and how they are to be acquired. Now that I have explained to you the various types of study, I must explain further which fields of study are worthy of being chosen and how much emphasis must be placed on each. Behold, it is simple. Proportionate to the degree of positive benefits derived from studying a particular subject is the amount of time to be occupied with it, be it great or small. Therefore, the study which directly results in achieving the true perfection is certainly worthy of being studied as much as possible. So whatever is the chief study, that's what we should be studying the most. For according to the effort and time we spend is the amount of perfection that we will achieve. Therefore, those who exert less effort will find that the diminished degree of effort will achieve a diminished degree of perfection. The more effort, the more perfection. The less effort, the less perfection. However, the preparatory study the preparatory study will have positive consequences only insofar as it serves as preparation for the main study. Therefore, the degree to which one's preparation facilitates one's understanding of the main study is equivalent to the amount of effort to be exerted, no less and no more. For if one has learned less than the necessary material, we will find his preparation for the main study lacking. And if one studies more than that which is necessary, he will find such study completely superfluous. So, the first, the first part of the chief study, the study of perfection, the study of Kabbalah, the study of divinity. That's what the Ramchal said. That's why we should spend as much time as possible on that. Then, however, there is the preparatory study, which correspond to Chumash, Navi, Talmud, Midrash, science of logic, everything that prepares me to learn the halakha and how to do the mitzvot, then it's good. But if I'm not studying for me to understand divinity better and to do the mitzvot and halakha better, then what's the point? Likewise, with the second type of study, which is but an incidental means to achieving the goal, since it is essential as it is a prerequisite for the performance of the mitzvot, the degree to which this study is necessary for one's performance of mitzvot is the degree of effort to be applied. It should be no less, for then one's preparation will be lacking, and not more, for then it will be considered an idle deed. So, right. So maybe we should put as much effort necessary to know how to do the mitzvot, and that's how much study I should do, but not more, because then it's empty. There's no point. If I spend like 10 hours on learning, okay, on Shabbat I should do this, should do that. So I spend just 20 hours. Once I understand how to do the halakha, I should not spend 20 hours on the thing, just trying to think and deeper and like that. No, there is no point. The point is to be close to Hashem. The point is to understand divinity. So you're wasting time on trying to be more technical at the work of the mind. That's not what Hashem wants. And therefore it becomes superfluous or idle, non-productive. The third type, which relates to one's, these are the sciences and crafts which relate to one's perfection in an oblique manner, meaning not directly. The third type, which relates to one's service to God incidentally, is to be measured according to the same scale as mentioned above. Proportionate to the amount of study necessary to one's service is the amount of effort to be exerted. Any more than this is to be considered superfluous and even a waste. So, like mathematics, geometry, science, that helps me understand the mitzvah, but not more than that. Not more than what I need to understand the mitzvah or understand divinity. This is even more so with the fourth type of study, which is completely extra, thoroughly unfit to be studied according to the principle which I laid down at first. One who directs his efforts to this category is only disgracing from his purpose, hindering himself from achieving perfection, following that which is totally empty, and he shall gain nothing from his labor, which will accompany him to the eternal world. So anything that has nothing to do with the mitzvah, with halakha, with going close to God, it's just like for entertainment, there's no point. So the student says, what I may glean from the totality of your words is this. So he makes a resume of what the Ramchal has taught till now. It is appropriate that man's main study be his contemplation of divinity, meaning the study of, like he said, the study of Kabbalah, of how prophecy works, how providence work, Hashgacha Pratis, Hashgacha Klarit, how Hashem runs the world. But again, it's basically everything that is hidden within Kabbalah, how the soul works, all that, in order to understand God better, to be one with God, to be more perfect. He will study the holy books and their commentaries, as well as the saying of our rabbis of blessed memory. It is upon these studies that one's reflection of the divinity is based. Likewise, one must study the proportion of logic necessary to learn the proper ways to research and investigation, but no more. Regarding the study of halakha, one must study what's necessary for one's practical application. Because I can spend 10 years learning about korbanot and never get a chance to do a korban. Do things about today's life. Doesn't mean you should never learn about korban, but only should not be the main focus. And regarding the science of geometry, it's something when you learn a Gemara. Start learning the Gemara, you want to finish Shas, but finish Shas, learn the Gemaras, more the Gemaras that are applicable to today. Technically, if you have a real Talmid Chacham, he can tell you any Gemara and tell you how every Gemara is applicable today. For this, you need a giant. And regarding the sciences of geometry, mathematics, and such subject, the knowledge of which is essential for one to understand certain mitzvahs, the necessary emphasis must be exerted, but not more. The rest of the sciences, because you can learn all day science, but doesn't help you for your mitzvot or understanding God. The rest of the sciences which neither relate to the divine nor to the mitzvot are to be studied only insofar as they relate to one's service of God, even obliquely, and according to the degree to which this oblique relationship applies is the measure to be studied and no more. Whosoever does not need to study these additional sciences should not apply himself to them at all. He should conquer his desire. It's like as if there's a desire for it. I want to understand, the science behind building a guitar. Okay, like it is a desire. Somehow we have a certain desire, but that's like it's also a distraction from the main goal. So that's why I say, as one will conquer the desire for any other unnecessary luxury, as with food, pleasure trips, and the like. So the rabbi says, excellent, you're really a good student. Do not digress from anything that you said. However, I must still warn you concerning a few of these principles. I have already illustrated that the learning of halakha is an incidental means to achieving the goal as it relates to one's performance. Yet, it is also a mitzvah in its own right, as mentioned above. If so, it is certainly more befitting that one concentrates one's effort on this more than upon the secular subject, for this is a mitzvah where the others are not. Meaning you can learn halakha more than science, because there's a difference. When you learn halakha, you have a mitzvah when you learn it, even if it's a halakha that doesn't apply. When you learn science, whether it apply, when you learn science, whether it applies or not, you don't get the mitzvah for learning the science. You get the mitzvah of doing an effort to use that learning to understand the Torah and the mitzvot and get closer to God. However, its value does not reach the value of the study of divinity, for the latter has two advantages in its favor. Besides its being a mitzvah, the essence of this study is a much more direct and powerful means in achieving perfection. Okay, right? It's again, we're speaking about learning Kabbalah. Ha'iyun be'elohios. That's the depth of God, of divinity here. I just want to make sure in Hebrew that's how it's translated exactly. Besides it's being a mitzvah, so it's a much more direct. So it tells you this is what you do. It's like Musa, you know exactly what to do, but you know exactly who God is, what He wants. That's why Kabbalah is so powerful. The study of halakha has but the one advantage, that of its being a mitzvah, as we mentioned above, but as a study, it only serves as preparation for one's actions. Right? So the halakha is great, it's also a mitzvah, but it prepares to to do the actions, but it's not directly connected to the study of divinity. If so, one must put more effort into this field of study than into others, but it should not approach the amount of effort expended in one's reflection of the divine. It must bear subordinate value to that which is essential. Here is a small thing. Until now, the Ramchal has explained his first warning. That is, one must spend more time studying halakha than secular studies, since the learning of halakha is a mitzvah, whereas the studies are not. On the other hand, the importance of the study of Kabbalah is even greater than the study of halakha, since this is the most direct means to study through which perfection is achieved. Therefore, even greater effort must be put into Kabbalah. That is provided that one has already completed studying all the prerequisites, which we're going to learn soon. Now, in addition, a distinction must be made between the person who is responsible for the halachic ruling for the community at large and the one who is not. The one who is responsible for many people must learn more halakha than others. So you have to see, depending on what type of life you live, what your responsibility is. Also, I must warn you additionally regarding the field of study, which is not a means but may instantly relate to one's service to God. Here one needs great discernment to save oneself from evil temptation and cunning deception. Often a person through self-deception will study certain subject and say to himself, this I need, or this relates to my service of God, and my intentions are pure. From this my character or views will be improved. Then in truth, it is but personal desire which is leading him and to which he is drawn. So you have to make sure you don't trick yourself. Oh yeah, I'll have to learn biology because biology I understand how God makes the earth. At the end, you just like biology because you love animals and you're crazy about animals or something like that, about the body, how it works, or as an excuse to go into, how does understand how men and women have children, why it works, but then it's an excuse to go into impure place. So one to be very honest for oneself, digging within oneself to make sure. Cheshbon HaNefesh. From this, my character, okay. But if he would look further into the matter, he would see that the same benefit that he claims to derive from the particular subject may be derived from the Torah also. Because most of the things can be found in the Torah anyway. That is, if he does enough, and possibly his benefit will be more complete. The greater general rule is, both good and evil are given to man to use. He who wants to live will choose life and will not deceive himself. The explicit text cries out and says, and I have set before you life and death. Therefore, choose life so that you may live. You have been extremely kind to me, says the students, in all that you taught me up until now. Now, be so kind as to teach me how to arrange my studies so that I may succeed. So, really, now the Ramchal finishes with the last portion, which is what one needs to learn, and the books we need to learn to focus on, and the gradual process of learning. And one, okay, so you're gonna hear. So he says like that. The rabbi says, here is what one must first know in order to become a wise man of Israel. You need to know the 24 books with a main commentary. So that's the book of the Tanakh. 24 books of Tanakh. After this, the 13 rules of exegesis, I think it says, of expounding the law, along with the commentaries, for this is the guide of the oral law. That's right. Afterwards, one must know how to learn the Mishnah well enough to be able to thoroughly understand any law that may be. He must know the ways of discussion, the difficulties raised, as well as the explanations that are given. One must learn to distinguish between the rejected solution and the vicarious ones, between the conjectured solutions and the tried and true ones. And after one knows all of the above, it is proper that one learn all 6 orders from beginning to end, while understanding the simple meaning of all the subject. So this is speaking about the Talmud thoroughly, right? All of Talmud, all of Shas, 60 tractates, 39 or 38, 37, I forgot already, 37 or 39 with Gemara. The others don't have Gemara, only Mishnah. Then, so one should go through Shas Be'kiyus, go through all of Shas, understanding just the basic principles of each one. Then one must learn the Rambam's Yad HaChazaka, which is the 14 volumes of the Rambam Mishneh Torah, from start to finish with its commentaries, because this is considered that you will know all the source, all the essence of the oral tradition given at Mount Sinai on how to do all the mitzvot and in a practical way, so that one may know the source of each and every law. It doesn't necessarily say the source of every law. The Rambam don't always say give the source how he knows how he paskins, but there's also the Shulchan Aruch and the commentary on the Rambam that explain that. One must study the Shulchan Aruch and take note of those laws which either differ with or expand on the words of the Rambam. Search for the law's origins in the Bet Yosef and understand his reasoning and rationale. After this, one must learn all the ancient midrashim completely. Further still, one must study the subject, logic, rhetoric, and poetry until he knows them. Poetry, Lashon Limudim, and Sefer Melitza. Okay. We don't have so many of those today, I'm aware of, but yes, logic and rhetoric. Ramchal wrote his own books on logic and rhetoric. Though care must be taken to use only those books written in terse form. One should learn the main principle of geometry, mathematics, and astronomy until he knows them. And regarding the remaining science and craft, the knowledge which is necessary should be acquired. So he holds that geometry, mathematics, and astronomy is necessary to know the basic principles in order to understand Torah. And then the others, remaining science, are not that of importance. And then after accomplishing all of the above, one's main concentration is to be placed upon the divinity for the rest of his days. So obviously, if one way to do all that, one will never reach the divinity. And this is the way it's usually understood, that one should learn and strive to learn. As one learns all that, again, my main focus should be on achieving divinity. And as he said before, I should put the most effort into that. So one should try to go through all of that once and then review it little by little. The Rambam said one should split his day in three, and the Ramchal also spoke about that, splitting his day in three portions, learning 1/3 the written Torah, Tanakh, 1/3 the Mishnah and the Halacha, and 1/3 the Gemara and Kabbalah, divinity. So this is, we should learn all of them. If you wait, you will never end up to learn Kabbalah. And we know people who learn Kabbalah, they didn't start once they knew everything. So one should just be aware that, this is the main goal, and have some time for it as we learn. However, one needs not to study the 6 orders first, and only afterwards we begin with the Rambam, the Midrashim, and then the sciences. Rather, one's time may be divided among these studies. Oh, okay, so he's speaking about. At first, one should spend most of his time studying the subject with the most material. So, Tanakh and Talmud. When finished, he may spend less time with those subjects than previously spent. However, he must set aside specific time for reviewing them lest they be forgotten. In the past, they will remember everything they learn. Today, we have the books, but it's still, in order to understand divinity, you need to remember some of the concept of what you learn. Regarding crafts and other external sciences, once their basic knowledge is required, they need not be pursued any further. However, lest they may be forgotten, one should review such sciences while in the privacy of the lavatory, so in the bathroom. Then one should divide his time so that his main concentration and effort are placed on the divinity. So, right? So he doesn't say you have to finish everything. And should divide his time that the main concentration and effort are placed on understanding Hashem. What does Hashem want? Who is He? How does He run His world? The other parts of Torah should not be abandoned. Rather, the two should be studied in small portion every day, thus enhancing one's love for Torah. For the Lord gives wisdom, out of His mouth comes knowledge and understanding. Baruch Hashem L'olam, Amen ve'Amen. And that concludes the Derech chochmah of the Ramchal. So I think we are clear now. Yashar is someone who is focused the whole day. What's dragging him, what's pushing him all day? I want to know Hashem. I want to be close to Hashem. I want to feel Hashem. I want to understand the way He works the world. You understand what He wants me to understand through His Torah. All that. That's my main thing. I want to be attached. I want prophecy. I desire. And therefore most of the day, so that should be spent focused on that. And my work, even I'm going to work, you know why I'm going to work? Because I want to be able to understand Hashem. And how does that bring me to understand Hashem and get close to Hashem and understand Kabbalah? Because by going to work, I'm working on Emunah, and I need money anyway to buy food and to be responsible, understand Bitachon, Emunah, how Hashem runs the world, And so it's part of the process, and understand I do that in order to also have money and food to be able to learn more about Hashem. Again, the whole day should be like that. The whole focus on Yashar, straight direction. I'm here to be one with Hashem. So God willing, may we reach the level where our entire energy and our entire day is filled with Torah, with desire to be close to Hashem. I forgot which Rav. I think it's Rav Elimelech of Lezhinsk, one that he said, you should, or the Baal Shem Tov, one of the Hasidus Rebbes says, one should pray constantly that Hashem should never extinguish the fire of loving Him and want to be close to Him. You have to pray for that. Hashem, keep the fire burning of me desiring to be close to you and love you and hug you and be davik in you. That's the most important, and we should be bothered by it all day in a good way. So may we be able to achieve it and live it.